Yeah, the half round things.
What are you doing? Buildings?
No, like you cut one part of the wall, so slide on one side and round on the other. Like, not right now, but I'll keep you in mind for sure. I give you the name of the guy. I don't know if he gives it out or not.
What do you do with that?
You want to write down? Yes. Because this guy mills a lot, and if you like promise to come get it and don't let him down, he might have all vouch for you. If you let him down one time, that's it. It'll be over. He's a great guy. Todd Sellers is his name.
Oh, yeah, I know Todd.
Okay.
Lewis?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So give him a call. He mills a lot. That's full time.
Yeah.
He retired from the DNR, so he probably.
That sounds like right up his alley,
Yeah,
the
I was
DNR.
on the board of the ball field with him.
Okay. So yeah, give him a call. You got it.
Why not the backup? That one's only gonna have audio because it's not being played.
Okay.
But at least it's charging, so it's not being done.
So are we recording too then?
Trying.
So we're going? All right.
We're going.
on
We're ready.
5? Okay.
Call this meeting on that township board. Been a long day.
I'm with you. Okay. Didn't we have a list, like, I already told JC my concerns and when I talked to him that day, and my concern was just that I had heard Prairie Creek wasn't on the, mutual aid list, which, kind of being selfish, I was concerned because my mom's house is 2 miles from Prairie Creek or 3 miles, so that was my concern, and we had some others, I think, written down, didn't we?
We had some. But I think what trumps all of this is, are we interested in getting our volunteer fire department back? That has become an option. Is that what we are? And that's the 3 of us, right, that vote on this, that decide this. Is that where we're leaning, or where are we? And I just play like nobody else is listening to us.
Oh, okay.
Where are we on that front?
I just don't see it happening, even though they want to give us a free year. I'm confused because why did they tell us we didn't make enough money the first time at Prairie Creek, right?
They aren't interested in the contract because they'd have to set up separate budgets. The amount of work that's involved with it.
So it's just a financial thing, a bookkeeping thing?
It's a I think it's just kind of a pain, like too much of a pain for the work that would be involved for the amount of money that was there.
Okay.
But,
But now they want to do it for free for us?
they are willing to do it for free for us, for at least a year.
Well, and as I said, you can't do it for free, it has to be for $1.
Right.
Okay.
And he's
Right.
agreeable to $1, so I guess the budget for $1 is easy enough. But we've brought JC in.
Yeah, I feel like,
And
Yeah.
I do need to address something with our current contract,
okay.
because I've made the first payment for the installment that came through, and then the second installment came through, and I'm not confident in the numbers. So I was going to write a check out for the amount.
Oh, the numbers on your end.
Yeah, I've talked to 2 other trustees that said that they were having problems with the auditor's office. The amount of money that came in was pretty significantly more than what we had approved in our budget, to the point where it's a little suspicious. And then there were some things that had happened in a previous.
I know in Pearson though, they went up a lot, so our budget went up over there too.
I still need to confirm, like the monthly budget, the monthly money that comes in every single month, it's the same amount every single time, and it was only 4 cents off or so from what it was before, but I had tried to, email and reply email and call, and I called again and left a message, and when I talked to another trustee, they're like, oh, you've got to physically go down there and you've got to ask for the right person because there's some problems going on right now. So I know that there's some problems that have been had in other areas. I know that there was some problems towards the end of the year last year with I don't know, they gave too much and then they had to adjust for it the following month or something along that line. And without me being confident in these numbers, I've left them as pending instead of approving them, so I can't even write a check for the amount that's left from the approved budget because I have to approve the receipts and the money that was coming in. So, when we get that confirmed, you guys will need to, I mean, it's only the right thing to do, but you guys will need to do an appropriation where we're gonna take this money and cut a check out of this year.
This is the
Or
sum that
last
goes to
year.
Piers,on right?
This is the one that goes to
And so,
Pearson for the
okay, so
fire
there's
protection
more-
that's already been had in 2025, and it's contracted.
So the scare is, if there is a mistake, we give you all the amount, and they say it's a mistake, and we give such and such back.
Well-
Now we have a problem, we got a problem.
But the other
That's
problem
the-
is that I am not allowed to make any changes once I, go through my bookkeeping, I can't make any changes on it. So once I say this is the final number, it's the final number, and the government wants it to be a final number.
Okay.
Well, if I can't have confidence in those numbers coming in,
Yeah.
then I don't have the money in the budget to cover the amount that was budgeted for, I mean, I haven't done my banking for December.
So you said you got an increase as well?
Yeah, over there we did.
Did you expect it, or was this just a, oh, surprise?
I didn't expect it, but the trustee told me over there that this is what we got. I said, where did that come from? I don't know, we just know it came there. I said, okay. So it's something in the numbers, like what Tracy's saying, I don't know particularly, I don't know if it's because of the property taxes and everything changed there, so with everybody's assessed valuation going up, the tax cap kind of creeped up.
Probably true.
Which is probably what it is. I can't be confirmed in that, but I would say that's probably what it is, because I know we're right around 200,000 over there.
Is anybody
So that's
investigating
actually higher.
it, she by any chance, are you looking to make sure, that it's not a mistake or something?
Yes, that won't actually go into effect for us until June.
Over there.
So June,
Oh,
July for over
that's-
there, that's when the first start of the next year's budget. So we've got the end of fall, which is what she should have, but the fall taxes were weird because everybody was messing around with the auditor because of the taxes being higher, because everybody's assessed valuation going up, which was because of the state, not because of the county.
Like even on the Form 22s that came through, the date that was on there was not even close to the date of the deposit. So
Yeah,
it
so
would
there's
say,
something
it's
weird.
going to be deposited today or tomorrow, and then it was like a week later, and I'm like, well, okay, I
So
gotta
it's
make
good
sure.
that, it's good that she's doing that just to make sure, because that can get hairy if not,
Okay.
especially with what's going on up there.
I mean, and I've got one that has, a deposit with no PDF to tell me how it's supposed to be dispersed into the different funds.
Yeah.
So,
Well,
I
do you-
just have left all of my deposits for December in limbo. I've got time to be able to do them, like they aren't, like I usually get them done pretty quickly, but I've got, I don't know, like 3 months or something before I have to have them uploaded.
First quarter probably.
Every month it's like, so February will be 3 months from then.
Oh, I
March will
see,
be- yeah.
not a quarterly thing, just a
Yeah.
leeway.
So at some point, we'll have to do an additional appropriation, which means advertising,
The budget or.
advertising the meeting.
The meeting and all that.
I don't know all the steps because I haven't done it, but I was not expecting at all to have more money come in and than what was approved. I was a lot more concerned that for some reason the budget would go through and then the money wouldn't.
Usually the way it goes, usually
Yeah.
they can't make the budgets most of the
We don't have the list that we made.
Yeah, I got right here.
Okay.
So I was just gonna ask, so do you guys want me to read these off and just like, I'm gonna number them as I go down, and just put the answer on the next, are you okay with that?
Yeah, I am.
Okay, I'm gonna take over your meeting, President.
Yeah, all right.
Okay, if you want, you can.
You're the secretary, so you're reading the info.
Go ahead. Okay. All right, question number one, this is no particular order, Mr. Gumry. Is someone on staff 24 hours a day over at your place?
Never have.
Could you ballpark like an average day over a month, like people are there 16 hours a day or 6
8 hours a day.
8 hours a day?
2 weeks.
Okay, that's pretty consistent, okay.
Which is what I told you guys at the beginning of last year. Once we combined, we put paid staff on 8 hours a day, 2 weeks at least.
Okay.
Which with the budget's going up, we will probably add personnel to that on a daily basis.
Oh, that's been questions that were repeated from last year?
Okay.
That was last year?
Nope, that's fair.
I'm an old man.
That's why we're
All
here.
right, okay.
That's why we're here.
If we merge with Pearson, so if we became, I guess, a territory, is that what you call that then? If there were something like that, is that called a territory?
Yes.
Okay,
That-
so if
that
we
is
merge,
possibility, yes.
with Pearson, what do you think would be the tax burden on Linton Township folks? Have you ever ballparked that by any chance?
Right now, you guys are tax version of about 0.06 on 100, which is where it's been for the last 30 years. It's never went up, it's never been adjusted, it's never been adjusted for cost, it's never been adjusted for anything. The issue with that is basically the fire department's falling behind when it came to budgets, it fallen behind when it came to training, it fallen behind when it came to anything. And no offense to Bill Nickerson and the rest of the guys, it just kind of fell behind as everybody got older. And it's not a bad thing, it's just what happens.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, there's been 3 other fire departments that have closed in this county because they've been joined with other fire departments. This is not uncommon. The tax rate in Pearson Township right now, I believe, is 19.5 cents on the 100. So, I mean, at some point, whenever you become a fire territory, you are going to set your tax rate. That tax rate comes from, if you become a fire territory, if you do it, there's 2 ways you can do the fire territory. You can do a territory with the board members of the township, between both townships. And if that's the case, that becomes the fire board. That's who I would answer to at that point, which would be basically the 3 of you, and then the 3 that's over there. And you guys become the fire board, and then that becomes a separate budget out of what Tracy and David take care of. Then it becomes a fire territory budget. It possibly still goes to a trustee, which usually there's a lead trustee and a lag trustee. So the lead trustee is gonna basically be the one that takes care of all the money. The lag trustee is basically an assistant.
So would your ballpark answer be like a 0.195? Is that what you
I
think?
would think, just guesstimating, that would probably be a good start.
Okay.
With us being over there with the assessed valuation that we have, we're about 20 million higher than Linton Township is. We're looking at 200,000. So if we did that over here, we would probably have a budget to put somebody through here 24/7, 365, along with having volunteers as well.
And we bump our rates up, or
We're
what we
gonna have
need
to,
to do.
you guys, it has to be done.
Yes.
To do anything, it has to be done. You just can't get there with 50 grand a year.
And
No,
if we do that, the fire board, territory that we're going, that would mean that we would have more resources, more people, more, right?
Potentially.
Yeah.
Basically, where you're sitting at right now is where you'd be sitting at the territory without a football territory. With the apparatus that are sitting here and at the other station, that's basically the same thing. The only thing that would happen is that you would be pulling more tax dollars from this end, and at that point, that would probably allow me at 400,000 a year, and this is all ballpark, guys. 400,000 a year plus Q fund, other things, we could probably put 2 people on one at each station. And then half of that budget's gonna be payroll. So, because you figure just to have somebody here 8 hours a day, this includes holidays. I budgeted holidays, so people are getting paid double time to work holidays, and it's union holidays. Was around 47,000 every year just for one person to be here for 8 hours.
That's a steal.
That's not benefits, that's not anything else, that's just straight part-time pay. It's $20 an hour, $40 an hour, double time days. And then of course they get paid overtime if they get paid more if they're there past the 8 hours that they're allotted to be there. All of these people that I've hired or have been in this firehouse and anywhere else are some of the highest trained firefighters you're gonna find in the county. They have experience, they're not new, they've got water rescue experience, ice rescue experience, hazmat. This isn't just your run-of-the-mill falling out of the firefighters. These guys are seasoned, they're good. And that's what I want down here because unfortunately with what we have to deal with, a lot of times we're one person. That's the way I grew up. Showing up on structure fires with one person. Is that the way it should be? No. But some days that's the way it is. And it's good at least to get somebody there, that's a start, and then you go from there. Go on, I'll go ahead, I don't want to get too far off of your tangents here.
Thank you, appreciate it. Is there an acceptable amount, or if there is an acceptable amount, what is an acceptable amount of others showing up, like Transcare being first on the scene or showing up at the scene?
It is possible. Transcare does jump some of the runs, if they're coming down 41, we had one the other day just on South Carolina. For Transcare, I pulled in right behind them. they were coming off 641. There's gonna be times Transcare's gonna beat us there. That's not unusual. Transcare's running people from Sullivan County, Vincennes, Evansville. If they've got a truck coming back, they're fools not to stop.
We have a lot of people.
Versus the other day where I was down there almost to the county line of Farmersburg, and I passed the Sullivan County ambulance, and it took Transcare 45 minutes to get there. The lady finally just picked up and went to the hospital herself.
What was it, you said jumped, they transfer jumped, what is
I don't
that?
mean to jump the run, but I mean sometimes if they hear something on the radio and they're close, they'll say, hey, we're gonna take it. So it's
Yeah.
called like jump the run, or they.
Okay, so it's not stealing it from somebody
Oh,
else,
no.
it's just what you call it. It's just-
Transcare has a contract for this county.
Okay, okay.
So they get first dibs. If they're out, and their backup is the city of Terre Haute. So then Medicaid 9, 5, or 7 will come from the city of Terre Haute.
You guys wanna go further on that one at all, or any deeper on that
No,
one
I'm
at all?
I guess Mike,
I
where's the
understand.
grounds from where's the grounds from the ambulance stuff, I guess? What is our worry there?
Transcare did show up, there's a moderately serious accident recently, and Transcare was the first one there.
And they made- they
Is
drive
that-
it past.
Yeah, is that?
Yeah, just very well, they could have been driving past.
Okay, I guess this is a ballpark. How many Linton Township calls, I don't know how you go by, per week or per month, and I guess we're looking at average here, responding to.
Yes, a lot.
You got a spreadsheet, oh man.
251 runs were made by Pearson Township this
Got a
past year,
spreadsheet.
or Pearson Fire Department this past year.
Linton Township.
No, in total.
Sorry, say that one more time, what was the number?
251 total runs by Pearson Fire Department. Linton Township alone had 105 runs. In yellow, on these spreadsheets of the 251 runs, you will see what Linton Township's run volume is. Ms. Tracy? That's in yellow. Also, as you look through the spreadsheet, to be fair, because I have to be honest with what we do, as you look through the spreadsheet, you will see numbers, you will see apparatus that's went out the door, and you will see total numbers
Oh.
of people.
That's it.
Okay, also the times of the day they come out. Out of that 105 runs, 48 of those runs were made by paid staff. So almost half of your runs, the rest of them were made by volunteers.
Okay.
So you're half and half. And even looking at even if you look down through this spreadsheet, which goes on, the red calls are ones we did not make. Sadly, most of those are in Pearson Township. I won't say sadly, I'm glad they were there, not here, but still, I hate that they are everywhere. But as you see in the red areas, these are ones we did not make, and/or Honey Creek has helped us, or another squad, or somebody else has come, which this is all automatic aid. So, in this, we made 105 runs to Linton Township, 48 of the runs were made by the paid staff, which are here. 146 runs from Pearson Township. Now, as you see, there is personnel numbers, which is going to change depending on what the call volume is. I know we've had questions with that. If you look at, such as the residential structure fires on Oregon Church Road that I literally drove up on.
This is the first page, the one with 16 folks.
You've
You're
got-
looking at it, first page.
You've got 1, 2, 3 departments there with 16 people. That's all automatic aid. Whenever I
Oh,
was
okay.
talking about the
I see
mutual
it.
aid or automatic aid,
Yep.
that is the initial run response going out the door.
Wow, 16 people showed
Okay?
up.
Just out of curiosity, I'm not sure this guy, I have no idea, what does E mean?
Engine.
Okay.
So E means engine, T means tanker,
Engine tanker,
and
P.
then P is Pearson one, that's
Oh,
me.
okay, okay,
And then Q means Quint, which is a ladder truck, which
okay.
the Quint's always there. It's usually our first go in at anything on the west corner. Which
The ladder
is-
truck always goes?
Not always, but depending on what the call is.
Okay.
So, to add into this, guys, I made sure I was prepared tonight to give you all the information because I want to educate everybody. Sorry for that camera.
That's okay, we got you.
So on this map is a combination of Pearson and Linton Township. This is a combined map. Here is Pearson Firehouse. Here is where we're at now. This is Station 72 for Prairie Creek.
Okay,
Station 71 for Prairton, where the Quint sits, a Quint 93 for Station 93, Station 91 on Allendale Hill, and Station 51 for Riley.
What is Quint again?
Quint is a ladder, it's like a combination engine ladder.
Oh, okay.
They're very expensive.
That's not a place,
Oh,
that's
that's
just
the
where
one
the
by
truck's at.
Pfizer's, right?
Correct, that's the one by
Particular
Pfizer.
type.
This particular type of truck, which they have at Pfizer's for the ISO rating,
Oh,
they need to
yeah,
have a
with
ladder
the-
closer
yeah.
because right here is where all the
The
industrial park
industrial
is.
part.
Okay, but it's here,
Correct.
but is this the separate contract that they have for the industrial park?
That's
They-
the mutual aid, those are
That's
places
Now-
to serve.
Okay.
Now, the industrial park is part of Honey Creek, excuse me, Chris. This is all part of the annexation Honey Creek did,
Yeah.
okay? So this is basically showing where they come into the township. However, the industrial park was annexed because everybody here wanted Honey Creek after the Future X fire. After that, everybody ganged up. That's why we can't get this back. It's annexed, it's gone, okay? But for where we're at with our blocks here, what I did this for is for ISO, is this is the distance from the township line to every fire department, to the township line, which is what they count. So, whenever I make the run orders for everything, as you can see, none of our firehouses, where they're at right now, are in the greatest of spots. Really, this needs to be over here somewhere, just to help, and mine needs to be farther this way because of everything down in Lewis that suffers. So as you can see, this is basically like being a general for war. You gotta be able to put your people where they're at. So whenever I make up the run orders, which I do, which I did that back in '24, whenever we first started this process, anything in a certain area, every one of these is a block mile. If you look at it up at dispatch. In that block mile, you have, I can't remember how many codes it is, it's over 150, I think. All of these codes go into run orders. So it goes from, let's say you fall. So there's a fall, heart attack, chest pain, cardiac arrest, et cetera, et cetera. You go into fires, a structure fire, a car on fire, a car accident. All of that goes into the listing. With all that, each square mile, you get to decide what you want the run order to be. So, obviously, common sense, without being a part of the fire service, you can tell where I'm probably going to pull from depending on what the run order is. If it's a advanced EMS call, and I say advanced EMS call, which is going to be heart attack, stroke, cardiac arrest, stabbing, gunshot wound, anything that's going to be large mass chaos, I always pull the closest rescue with us. One, because if you're in cardiac arrest tomorrow and you live down here, I'd be a fool not to have them tied in with us. We're still coming, but if they can make it there just because of distance, why not? So that's part of the game that I have to play as a fire chief is I got to make those calls. Now, structure fires, depending on where they're at, get 4 to 5 tankers on the initial response. What the CAD does is, in fact, I got right here. What the CAD does is it goes out and it says, okay, I've got a brush fire in all these areas, which are my block areas for mutual aid. It says I need 2 tankers, 2 brush trucks, and 1 fire ground assignment. So what it does is, let's say it's over here in the mile marker here. Okay, so it's going to find the 2 closest tankers. So it's going to reach out to station 71 or 72, so tanker 72, tanker 10, and then the 2 closest brush trucks, which is going to pull ours. That's how the CAD works. If for some reason they're out, it then goes to the next closest fire department and pulls their tanker. That's what the CAD's designed to do. What I have to do in doing all
You're
this,
saying the cat?
the CAD, the
CAD.
computer aided dispatch.
Okay, dispatch, okay, I'm thinking, okay, yes, gotcha.
So, for example, explosion, fire, commercial, structure fires, you're getting 2 engines, 4 tankers, and then I call out 1 Corey tanker, 1 squad, 1 Lewis tanker, which is coming from Lewis Township down in Colmont. So I spell all that out. So depending on what the call is, if it's somebody with a stub toe, I'm not calling mutual aid on that. That is not an auto aid run, nor do I want to have someone else running emergent and risking someone's life for an emergency call that's really not an emergency call. I mean, yes, if you fall at 4 o'clock in the morning and you just need help back in bed, I'm not calling mutual aid unless you weigh 500 pounds. Okay? The reason for that is yes, we all want that service to get somebody there within a few minutes. But folks, we gotta pay for it.
Yeah.
Right.
Okay, if you want to have where we can get into 2 or 3 service, then we need 5 fire stations like Honey Creek does, and have it where you're basically somebody leaves and is there within 3 to 5 minutes.
Yeah,
We don't have that down here.
we don't have the population.
I mean, we don't have the population, we don't have the people. It doesn't matter.
Neither.
I mean, my luck is I can sit there and say, okay, guys, I want you to work 7 to 3 every day. And it just so happens I threw a dart at the dartboard 48 times and we caught the runs. What I want you to look at too is all the runs before that are all volunteer based. The 48, the paid staff made 105 runs, the rest of that's volunteer. So we're not that far off, guys.
So I have a question about
Yes,
this.
ma'am.
So when you're saying that you're not gonna call somebody out for something over there, whatever, you know, if it's
No,
not a
no,
big deal.
not just there.
Like a
What-
stub toe,
Correct.
like you're talking
And
about
that's
stub
anywhere.
toe, like, okay, so anywhere. But, I mean, people don't call for a stub toe, but they could
Yes, they
fall, okay? People call
But
for
fall,
attention.
yes,
People call
yes,
for
yes.
attention.
They'd like to get a
understand
ride to
that.
the hospital, yes.
Yes, I get the drama. Like, you want to stir up your family, you say, I had to call the ambulance.
Trust me,
I
that's-
get that.
yeah.
But if what you're saying, and if I understand it correctly, you don't have, 24/7, you've got, it sounds like 8-hour days Monday through Friday? Or is it when weekends, or is it
Which
some weekends
volunteers
and
are
not
covering the
others?
rest of the time. So what that happens is basically volunteers cover the rest of the time, so they're at home, or I'm at home. That's one reason why I drive the vehicle I drive. That's a fully staffed EMS vehicle. So that saves 10 minutes of time when I'm at home. Same way with
Right.
Mike. When Mike's at home, it's the same way, fully staffed EMS vehicle.
So who shows up when, grandma wants attention?
Volunteers.
Okay.
So everything on this
From-
paperwork, I'm sorry, Debbie.
you're
Everything
fine.
on this paperwork.
But I'm having a
is-
hard time understanding are the volunteers like coming from home then? They've got their radios on and they're coming from home then?
Correct,
Okay.
And that's what it relies on, is them having a radio on.
yes.
It's not by phone or
Basically,
text or
everything's by
something.
phone is by text message. Everything that comes through is through our
Or text.
text app. So if I get a run, I've got mine set up where the world's gonna sound like it comes to an end. I think John's heard it when I've been in the control room and the things went off.
Oh.
So basically, this comes out as, like say, Riley had a deceased person earlier today. So that comes out, it gives you a map, it gives you location, it gives you everything that's dispatched to it, along with all the notes. And then it gives the times for the fire trucks that go and who else is going. It'll also give you the map and help you navigate. So if somebody already has the truck, then everybody else will meet them there on scene. If it's a heart attack or a cardiac arrest and I'm already going, most of the time people's gonna meet me there. That's how that works.
And about half of your staff is paid and half of your staff is volunteer?
I've got 4 paid staff and the rest of them are
So
volunteer.
you've got 4 paid staff, the rest of them are volunteer, and about half of your runs are being responded to by the volunteers?
Yes,
Oh,
by
right.
the numbers. Well, actually, yeah,
But
about
that's-
half, a
but
little
that's-
over half.
That's due to timing. correct?
Absolutely, sure.
Not every accident happens in 8 hours.
That's what I said. I wish I could throw a dart at the dartboard and get lucky and make sure somebody's there. It just
Most of that
doesn't
stuff
happen.
happens on the weekend.
How many volunteers did you say? 4 paid staff and how many volunteers?
20.
Do we have any volunteers from our town, from Linton?
Not yet. I've got a,
Well, you have Mike
we've
Pruitt.
got Mike.
Yeah.
Yes. But other than that, that's the thing right now is I've actually got one of the community service workers that works for us is in the process of getting a newsletter together so we can send something out to do
Okay.
some.
That's
So that's something that's been in the process and just waiting on him to get it done. He used to work for Channel 2 years ago, so he's really good with that kind of stuff. So he's got 800 hours, so I figure I'd do something, if you can get it, it's better than
Sure,
polishing trucks
I
all
mean,
day.
it's worth a try.
If, so if Pearson, let's just say, whatever, a bunch of your stuff is called off somewhere, you guys, that's it, you're out. All the vehicles they asked for, they're out.
Yep.
Now, something else comes up.
Now the
And
CAD,
let's just say it's normally would be yours, but your vehicles are all
now the
whatever.
CAD's gonna go back and say, okay, my engines and tankers are gone, it's gonna go to the next closest.
Yeah,
okay.
So it's gonna pull Honey Creek, Prairie, wherever it's at.
Farmersburg?
Farmersburg, which Farmersburg comes up and helps us as well. They're also on the automatic gate, depending.
Yeah. Farmersburg's a good clue.
So you may have kind of sort of answered this, CAD reaches out.
So the CAD does it all as long as we put the information in. The computer's
Only
only
as
as
good
good
as
as
you
input.
input proper
That's
stuff.
right, you have to have the input.
Proper
in.
information, correct.
So what circumstance would Pearson not respond to a call then? What?
Well, either we don't have paid staff that day, or just the volunteers aren't there,
Okay, I'm done, John.
just like anybody else.
No staff.
And if I read that, the red lines are where you're gonna rely upon mutual aid,
The red lines are runs we did not make ourselves.
which you would have had to rely upon another.
Yes.
And on some of these, the other ones, the non-red line runs, the Linton Township, the yellow runs, right? And
Lincoln
Pearson
Township's yellow
relies
runs,
on-
the red line runs are all the ones that we missed in general.
Right.
So that's Linton, and so
So-
this one's Linton Township here, that's 18808 Patriot Lane, which he used to fall all the time. I think he either got my home or passed.
What's white?
White is just.
Those are Pearson.
Pearson?
Yes, those are Pearson lines.
How often, so, and are the 8 runs where mutual aid was the only one responding, are they part of the 251 total runs?
Yes.
Okay. And of them that were named, so out of the,
We missed 3%
200
of the calls.
out of the 243 runs that Pearson responded, do we know how many times mutual aid assisted in those runs?
It's auto aid at that point.
Okay.
And depending on, I'd have.
So what I'm saying is, Pearson may show up, but some other department may also show up to
Well,
us.
as I've showed on the map, Chris, it's basically, I'm a fool if I don't ask for.
I know, but that's
Right.
normal and customary for it not just to be Pearson, but
Correct,
Honey Creek to Aid, or
yes.
Prairie to Aid, or Thunderbird, or Riley, that's, okay.
If it's anything larger than, let's say a shortfall, if it's anything larger than what I would call a minor episode medically, we usually have mutual aid come.
Does mutual aid only come in if you request it?
No, we ask, but also, we also have that as auto aid. There's a difference between auto aid and mutual aid.
Explain that.
Auto aid is automatically dispatched when the run comes down. So whenever I put the run orders in, like the run orders that I showed you down there, that is automatically, I can sit there and pick out and say, I want Quint 93 at XYZ square miles with us.
But
on
you make
these
that
runs.
decision.
Correct,
Okay.
because that's
That's-
basically the deal that we have between.
That's
the parties.
the auto aid.
Correct.
And then the mutual aid is,
Mutual aid is if we need extra, or if for some reason we don't make the run, then dispatch is gonna come in and look at the next closest fire department. It's still mutual aid, but we didn't ask for it because we weren't there.
Okay, so auto aid, like, somebody calls 911, the call's going out initially, auto aid goes to that immediate call.
Yes.
There's no delay.
No.
Mutual aid has a delay in that
Yes.
they're expecting you to go to it, and then if you aren't able to go to it, then there's a delay,
Correct.
then they show up.
Which is why we started doing the auto aid, which speeds everything up.
Okay.
It's one reason why Quint may beat us to the west side of Oregon Church Road, but that's also the whole point.
Right. Protecting the.
But if you rewind 3 years ago, the Quint was going everywhere in Lincoln Township, every day.
Mm.
That's why Honey Creek got mad and sent letters, and we had to deal with it.
No.
That's whenever I came in.
So you may have said this, I'm quite confident you said this answer, okay, I'm just gonna ask, so we have a heart attack, whatever, massive heart attack. What keeps 4 ambulances from 4 different places showing up? What
We
is that?
only have one ambulance service in the county,
Okay,
okay?
Trans-
So Transcare's gonna set up, their central station is at 13th and Voorhees, okay? Unless they're closer because they're a regional hospital or they're out and about, that's what we got.
that's it, so it won't have,
Now, Medic 9 or something, Transcare's out, our next call back is gonna be Medic 7, 8, 9 out of the city, of Terre Haute.
medic, so was that as a?
That is a
service
medic
truck?
That's the fire
Like,
department.
Fire
It's the
department.
fire department.
What did you say your truck was set up with?
It
It's
is
set up for-
BLS only. So it's BLS with basic life support. So everything from CPR to running a defib, I can keep you alive, but I can't transport you.
Okay, so might you show up to severe, if you're like close by, might you show up and maybe you have stuff, so you might
I've
go
got a
there?
defib, I can hook him up, I can check his blood pressure, give him aspirin, I can give all the checklist.
I got you.
And then basically, I'm hanging on to, so either in advance, which Prairie is advanced, so is Sugar Creek, so is Riley, and so is Honey Creek. So they come in advance. That's another reason why it's an advanced medical call, we'll go ahead and have them come, because now they can push some drugs, now they can get an IV started, and they can go farther.
And they
So
can
that's the
transport.
reason, correct, no, they cannot transport.
So
But
they
they
don't
can
Fire
start
departments,
ID.
our county fire departments do not have a transport service. The only people that do, we tried at Riley, and Russ Farrell Transcare ran over us.
Russ Farrell, yeah.
We had 2 ambulances in the county, we ran them as a countywide ambulance service, and we got sued, we got ran over, and he bought all our stuff, and we went.
So
Sorry,
Transcare
what's
Terra
Russ
Fire
Farrell? Is that a
Department.
competitor?
He
to
owns
Transcare?
Transcare. No, he
Oh, okay.
owns
So
it.
Transcare and Terra Fire Department are the only transporters.
And he dated him. He was a character.
Would you like Transcare and what else?
Terra Fire.
Transcare, Terra Fire.
Terre Haute Fire, but not the county fire.
Correct, there is no county fire department.
He has our contract for Viper County.
Yes, correct, they make that contract to the, county commissioners, I believe.
Okay.
So Transcare contractors doing their job.
Absolutely.
Right.
They be 45 minutes, but they're gonna be here.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, that's what we got to deal with. So, that's one reason why I do the auto aid the way I do it, to make sure somebody's coming, because CPR, as everyone in this room knows, is time.
Yeah.
So if I'm coming from home and it's over there on the west side of the township, that's a haul, even for me, driving somewhat recklessly. So, we try to make sure there's help coming, or it's after hours, everybody's out for the weekend, it's the 4th of July, whatever, everybody's gone. At least I've got somebody, I've got another pole to pull from to make sure somebody's coming to your aid. And the whole county does it that way. Really, all the county fire departments treat themselves as one fire department. So whenever we do these auto aid agreements and we go into dispatch, that's what we do, is we just pull whatever's there. Now, what complicates things a little bit is when we start dancing between counties. With what I deal with, I pull from Clay County and Sullivan County. Well, then I have to deal with and display and make sure the dispatcher calls Sullivan County and says, hey, Thunderbird, we need you. Well, I subsidized that. That chief's app I just showed you, guess what? The chief and deputy chief down there have the app, have our stuff in it, they see it, first thing I get is a phone call. Chief, you want us to come up? Yep, go ahead and send me an engine.
Who is the chief in fire?
Chris,
I think Woody texted me, but I don't know if I
I
kept
can't remember his name.
phones out in the car.
Let me ask Chris a question before I ask our next one, if I can. In your understanding, the fire equipment here and the building here, the possessor, owner of that is, and to the best of your knowledge,
But
is?
still, at least the property's still titled under Linton Township Volunteer Fire Department.
Okay,
Will's working on the paperwork.
not to Pearson at this point?
No.
He said he's working on the paperwork right now, so it's not finalized, but they're working on it.
So is it theirs then? So when they get the paperwork done, boom, it's theirs? Is that your
Well,
understanding then?
they deed the
Yeah.
property and they transfer the title as it is.
Who's the they, if they?
Linton Township
Linton
Volunteer,
Township,
it's
which
like,
doesn't-
it's a
It's
corporation.
incorporated.
Okay, so, but there is nobody in that now, right?
Well, Mike is.
Or is there a person?
We're still members of that. Like
So
myself,
they are members of that still? So Mike,
Yes.
Mike,
he's a
myself.
member of the Linton Township?
Well, you don't have members, it is a corporation, so
Okay.
owned, it is operated by directors.
So the directors out there, their names,
There should be, if they are up to date in their filings with the Secretary of State, there would
Okay.
be directors and officers of Linton Township Volunteer Fire Department, Inc.
Okay,
Does Mike hold one of those positions? What position does he hold?
He would technically be the COO, or however you would call that. He's the operating officer, he has the checkbook, he's the finance person, he's everything.
okay, so Mike.
Because, I hate to say it, everybody died, is what happened.
Okay. So when they get the paperwork, whatever legal paperwork does, basically if Mike is the last person, he just has to sign his name on the dotted line?
No.
Okay.
You- How would you deed your property?
Dude, I don't know, man, you're talking.
You'd sign a deed and deed it to whoever you deed it to. The same would be true here. When you transfer title to your vehicles.
Yeah.
You sign it, I'm the selling and here's the buyer.
That goes with the.
So this would be, so Mike would sign a deed and deed
If-
all
if
the
he
property
is-
and
If
trucks?
he is the authorized representative of the corporation, he's the one that would be authorized to do that.
Okay.
Sign on behalf of the corporation.
So does he have to?
What do you mean, does he have to?
What if he refuses to do that?
Well,
Can't he?
it would remain titled in
Okay,
the corporation's thing, just like if you didn't sign a deed
Yeah.
to sell your property, who owns it? Well, you still do until it's transferred.
so all these questions are about, you know, if we did try to start a volunteer fire department here again, so we cannot count
It
on this
wouldn't be
building
this
or that,
building.
yeah.
Yeah, it would,
Okay.
Yeah.
unless it transferred to the town owns, or the township owns a lot there, and then owns the property next to the railroad tracks, but we don't own this tract of property.
Okay, so let's see.
So did I hear you right to say it was 3% of the calls are missed, somewhere around 3%? Is that pretty on par with comparable departments in Vigo County?
Oh, I would hope. That's 3% calls missed is actually quite a good number, I think.
What, I'm sorry, what's the 3%?
Of the calls, the red lines.
The missed
Oh,
calls,
oh,
total
yeah.
missed calls.
I mean, for anybody that's volunteered, yes, absolutely.
Okay, and then, you were saying that, like, everybody kind of works together as a team for Vigo County,
Mhm.
and, you know, you've talked about, like, who goes for mutual aid. How many of these calls, or is there a second list or something for how much they're responding mutual aid to other areas? Is that one, I assume, is not represented on this,
I
form?
don't have that information, no. What you're seeing there is the call volume and the calls for these two townships that we cover.
Okay,
Now, I will tell you, Honey Creek goes a lot of other places in mutual aid, I will say the same thing about Ryder, but they're also got paid staff all the time, they're gonna get called. We get called too,
Yeah,
we're going to
nice.
Sullivan a lot more, we're going to Sullivan County a lot more, because they know we got paid staff, so we're sending equipment back. So at least we're actually giving back
Right.
than sitting here taking all the time.
Mhm.
That's where we got
yeah,
ourselves
I was
in that.
wanting to know, like, if.
And I told the paid staff, I said, if something comes out and you get called, go, because that's what they're doing for us.
Right.
So, I mean.
Help each other.
And usually there's somebody else around it.
Do you have do you have some more paperwork? Like, I'm assuming you're just keeping your paperwork throughout the year and you know,
As far
you've
as
got
what?
like this, I mean, it's not like you came up with this last night, I mean, this is
No.
something you've done over every
That's part of
single
our
day.
run
It's
log,
part of
and
documentation.
our run sheets, but every time we have a run, that gets filled out, so that gets added to it. That way we keep track of our run numbers and the runs, because then we keep track of that through our system. That way, if we've got, I don't have the run sheets with me here, but we have run sheets that we fill out that gives all the information, all the times, and usually write a narrative on the back. And a lot of that goes back to is, you know, if it's an EMS run and let's say it gets called to court, well, they wanna know the times, they wanna know when it was. So for us, the run numbers is how we keep track. We know 2026-5 is our medical run for Tracy, God forbid, got in the car wreck. Well, it's going to court because, well, somebody ran a red light, hit you. Guess what? Now, I'm the one who wrote your report, and they said, well, Tracy says she's got a broken neck, blah, 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 and your report, it says you don't. Then that's when I get to go sit on the stand. But they also look at that paperwork. So all of our paperwork gets compiled into that, but also goes to the state of Indiana. And we actually, the state of Indiana funds a reporting software for us, and we put that in every year. That's also how we get grants. We have to report to the state of Indiana to be able to get grants. You don't report to the state of Indiana,
So you have documentation that you report to the state of Indiana about your mutual aid calls that you do for other
yes.
areas. Those are out there, okay.
What are your plans for the building currently?
Well, if you haven't noticed, we just finally got the roof on, which I've been desperately waiting on. We've got the new soffit, the new trim on the building, we're gonna be getting the gutters anytime, hopefully depending on weather. That's what the weather's been the worst part about it. If we keep moving forward with what we're doing here, then I'm going to gut the kitchen over, and we're gonna put the living quarters in here, and then the paid staff's gonna be stationed here. The only reason why they're not stationed here now is because there is no inhabitable hole for anybody to stay for 8 to 10 hours, nor would I ask anybody to stay here for 8 to 10 hours. Unless I have had guys move over if we've had a snowstorm coming, or anything like that. When I know there's bad weather, I'll ask them to stay, and then they'll bring their electronics, and then they'll set up shop, if you will. But there's really not an inhabitable area over there yet, so that's my plan is to get the kitchen redone, add the crew quarters, have a place for these guys to be. Now, they're still gonna have to go over and check the other trucks, just like they do here, and vice versa, but the rest of the time, they will be stationed here, which will speed up run response to the west side of 41, along with 41 Court. So my whole goal in this, again, talking about being the general here, and trying to put my troops right, is to put somebody here. And along with that, still in the back corner, which is dealing with the school, which I talked to Esther the other day, it was before Christmas, I think it was, and they are still on board with doing a deed in lieu on the property over there, so I can file for a grant for a new firehouse up right across the street from your house, which will definitely dress the place up. Back John Burns School down. But like I said, that's the
Hang on
plan.
a minute. I know it needs to be recorded.
Kidding.
Yes.
But
I must have missed something there.
it's an inside joke between John and I.
Oh, I was like, what?
So, in between all that, if we keep this going, I've also got leads on a fire truck to replace engine 10. Engine 10 is over 30 years old. NFPA compliancy is 20.
Oh.
That truck was bought whenever the industrial park started being built. The county bought half that truck. And
Our engine is in.
Correct. The truck doesn't have a lot of hours on it, but it's also 30 years old, and it's literally sitting there rotting.
Things need to be driven.
Correct. So the guys come in, that's what this paperwork is all the weeklies that get done on the trucks. The weekly is they check all the fluids, they run the pumps, they take the trucks out for a drive. This gets done once a week. This is every truck in the fleet, not just here, but everywhere. On top of that, they also have the daily checks, which is what these are. So when there's somebody paid to be here, they check hours, they check fuel, they check water, they make sure the truck didn't burn up, and also make sure it starts, because the last thing we want is the battery to be dead. We found more dead batteries since we started doing this than we ever have. So that's the other hand, make sure the trucks are right. Just because somebody's not here doesn't mean I can't catch a car fire on the south side of Pine Mill Circle and I'll be driving by and grab engine 10. In fact, the last structure fire we had right over here off Farmersburg Street is exactly how it happened. I came and grabbed engine 10.
Is this well,
This is here.
This is here?
This is the combination, I'm sorry. Combination.
Is there, we could just like pull one that's like of ours, because it would be separate, right? Yours would be separate from this building.
Yes.
I would just like fill that up, you've seen this before.
Well, here's the easy one for you. So this is what it looks like.
Is this you or is this us?
This is here.
This is here, okay. And so that's for 114. Okay, so last January.
So those checks. So these are all the checks. So you're gonna check start the vehicle, check lights and sound, backup alarms, SCBA's to make sure they're in the proper manner, water level on the truck, if it has water, fuel, defib if it has one, and all this gets filled out for each truck. And also we maintain the hours, that way we know when we need to change the oil, which is what I do.
Level full, okay.
Yeah. So it's basically a checklist of all that.
So this is not, so looking at check marks, which is good. And that's what that would be like. if it was-
What they'll do is they'll make a note down here that says something, so
Something,
you should
okay.
call me, but something.
So this is not what we want it to look at to see to replace the truck, because
No.
looking at check marks, yeah, just because it does it doesn't mean it's in a good shape, and you wanna keep this forever,
Fire trucks, just like everything else, have an age. We can sit there and hang on to a fire truck forever, but we also have to look at safety, we have to look at what's going on. With the budget that we have, and what I've been trying to do is work within that. We're already, if I had to sit here and go apples to apples on what we've done over the past year, in the last few years, I can tell you we'd be in the negative if I just had to use Linton Township funds. Pearson Township funds have also been combined in with that to get our stuff done. We had to put new tires on the engine. The brush pump that I'm getting ready to put on brush 10 was $19,000.
Oh,
Okay, insurance for this building and for the trucks is $8,000 a year, no matter if I got one volunteer or 20. Tires for the truck were, which I know isn't an every year cost, but anyway, 50,000 gets ate up real quick. Okay, the 5-inch supply line we just put back on engine 10 is $1,000 a section. We put 10 sections on there. The new SCBA's were $7,000 a piece.
were there questions that you guys had that have come up?
nope.
I have a,
I
when
think-
you were talking about the dailies there,
Yes.
so you're saying that like all the trucks are looked at daily for certain things, like at both.
Through the week. through the week, yes, and the paid staff's here, yes.
Okay, so Monday through Friday, somebody looks at,
The paid
I
staff's
don't know,
here.
like checking the oil every day,
No, no.
Monday through
The
Friday,
oil-
or what?
The
'Cause that's-
weeklies is when they
okay.
get that deep.
What's
So
that?
the weekly is when they
It's
do
done
that.
once a
Actually,
week.
it's
That's
separate.
different.
It's
So this is, what's this?
That's your
a
daily.
daily.
This is the weekly. This is where we do check and it kind of gives you an idea.
It's 2 different pages.
So that one's the weekly. I'm wondering what
It kind of gives you an
possibly
idea, an
watched every
example of
day.
what
Just need to check their own oil in their car.
it is. A lot of volunteer fire departments only do it once a month. So we do it every day, which is where we come from. That's the way it is.
Yeah, my husband's out.
If there's anything wrong at that point in time, then that's what we do. At that point in time, they address it. Again, I get a phone call. I'm also the mechanic, the plumber, the electrician, and the fire chief. So that's what we do.
That's what you do in the little town.
So that's what we do on a weekly basis.
Is that all the questions we have wrote down?
I think it's that, for the most part, yeah, we kind of consolidated some as we,
On top of that, I wanted to share with you guys as well, all the businesses between both townships. The businesses between both townships, I can tell you that a paid staff person has been walking through that business, and a pre-plan has been made for the said business. Most of the businesses you will find are in Linton Township. Every Linton Township business, as we started doing what we've been doing, has been pre-planned, a drawing has been made, contact information has also been written down, and they're working on a book for that. One thing I didn't print out was the rural hitch water supply information, which is for residents with long driveways. We also have a rural hitch information book we're getting ready to put together. So if a driveway is a rural hitch, we can look in the book. If it's a structured fire, and know how we need to respond. Because we as firefighters are going to lay a supply line and do some different things. So, also, every one of these businesses, depending on what it is, I will underline Boot City. Boot City has its own fire response by itself. Because of the building, of what type the building type is, the amount of fire load in it, I've got 9 fire departments coming to that place for us.
Oh, yeah.
Because of what it is.
Plus what's
Wood
in it.
frame, there's nothing there, so it goes back to is again, as a fire chief, I have to go back and look at that.
I have a question for you.
Yes.
I know we talked about when we did murders, about the insurance rate for people with fire protection, and we were the lowest at that point.
Yes, we are.
Do you have any updates on that, or any information on
Well,
what we do to kind
I
of
guess
just
what would have to be done
oh, Chris.
to
you really
move
don't
us
talk about that.
into the next off of the bottom? So in other words.
Right now, what we're hurting most on, and Chris, you've heard me talk about this before from our other side of business, is water supply. Fire hydrants is our weakness. Okay? And it's not busting up on anybody. On this map that I also made is all the fire hydrants that are in the
Yeah,
township.
fire hydrants are the blues, the blue
Correct.
dots.
So everything all the way down 41 is a fire hydrant, all the way through. This is Indiana American, this is Indiana American, everything south of Harlan is gonna be our Sullivan Vigo Waterworks, which I'm knocking it down because I'm also on the board. Sullivan Vigo Waterworks here on Oregon Church, and there's another one on Oregon Church, and there's also one over here, which I didn't mark because I forgot about it until I went past the other day. With these fire hydrants in place, when I talked to the guy from ISO as a representative, he's pretty confident. Again, there is no guarantee until we go through it. But again, there's also other things that go along with just fire hydrants. It's going to be the inspections, the records that we keep, and also the paid staff. I think we can probably get down to an 8A or a 7, which you will see that on your
Save
insurance.
money on your insurance, yeah. What,
Which I had talked to the folks as a board member, but also everything else about talking about using these hydrants. And the biggest worry, and it's a respectable worry, is the water board has a worry of they've got to pay for this water regardless.
What are we now? What
We are a 10.
10, okay.
no, or the worst.
The worst.
The worst. I thought, like, is this at the corner of Bono where I live?
Correct. and then you've got
These
this
are-
one by the park.
We were
now,
told
too.
they were just flushes, that
Those-
they aren't even usable.
Those two are Indiana American fire hydrants.
Oh, so
So
that isn't
that, the
right.
one that's right here by the park,
Uh-huh,
that one got put back in, it's right by the cabins. I got put back in after the cabin burned down. So
Okay.
finally Indiana American came back in. That is the last Indiana American fire hydrant as far south besides the industrial park.
well, what about this one in Moat's yard?
That is Indiana American.
So can we,
I can use that.
and is it pumpable by a fire truck?
Well, we don't pump the
Or,
hydrants,
well,
but yes,
how- you know, I'm
yes, I
sorry.
understand. No, you're
I'm
fine.
not
But yes,
educated
it
on
is,
that, but-
it is very available.
But you can haul out of any of them, right?
But see,
Absolutely.
we were told that I was a flusher or something, somebody
If
said.
it is a full barrel hydrant that's Indiana American, it's marked now.
It's red, a
Sullivan-
little red one.
Now, that is a flush hydrant. You
Okay,
cannot
then that
use
is
those.
it. Yeah,
That is
that's
for
a
Sullivan
flush.
Vigo water, and those are off limits. They
Okay.
use those to flush the water.
Okay.
Those are not even big enough to do anything, and we
Yeah,
would
well,
cause
it's so
damage.
little, I wondered, I thought,
We would cause
So
damage.
flush
to those
hydrant is
lines.
just something that, is used to maintain the water supply.
Correct.
It's
Keeping-
not
You can fill a
something,
truck off of
you can,
it. You can fill a truck, but you can't pump off it.
Right.
okay.
it's not fast
Yeah.
enough feed to fill it.
Which
Yeah,
we
I
wouldn't
get
do
you.
that anyway because we'd be better off
But we
coming
could
here.
fill the truck there.
We
or no?
could, yes, but you're also gonna drop your header, your water header pressure. Last time I talked to them, we're right around 58, 60 pounds. If I open this up, I'd suck the water out of your toilet.
Oh crap, don't do that.
That's why we don't do that, okay? So that's why we go to the main hydrants.
Oh, okay.
To what we do.
And is this a main, this
Yes.
is a small one and this
Nope,
is a,
this is Indiana American. It sits right there in the corner, be the southwest corner of the road. Right there where the White House is, it's got the tomatoes and all
Yeah,
that stuff.
Moses,
Moses' place.
Moses.
He's got a full barrel hydrant there. That's Indiana American hydrant.
oh,
And then, like I said, they ran that down here. That's on a 10 or 12-inch main because it goes over here as well.
so it is, we can use
Mm-hmm.
that, okay.
So, if we want to go any higher, which I've stopped with it because I have to make sure, I have to work with the other water company to understand, both vice versa, and that they've got legitimate worry there. And also they want to make sure that we're not a bunch of morons and go in there and tear up the hydrants or tear up the water mains, which is understandable. So we are trained, and when we get our training, we are trained to use a fire hydrant properly and also to maintain the water system in the process so we have the residual pressure. Now, one advantage that we have is whenever we do our initial dispatch, we usually have at least 10,000 to 12,000 gallons, if everything gets out the door, on wheels coming first out, which should take care of 90% of anything we got if it's caught early.
Yeah,
If it's not caught early, I've dumped 30,000 gallons on a single family dwelling because we couldn't put it out. Okay, so then we got a tanker shuttle going, they're hauling water, so they're gonna find the fire hydrant. But as you can see by the map, where they're at going down 41, boy, that sure would be nice to have, because then that's a straight shot here. Because if I don't have these, my next closest hydrant's up here.
Ew.
Okay, so that's the battle we have. So ISO bases off a few things. They look at certification of trucks. So every year I certify the trucks every year for pump testing, for hose testing. The hoses on the trucks have to be pressure tested. We also have to do our run reports. They look at our times. They look at how many people we have on runs. They look at everything. And then they give us an evaluation, and then they tell us what we are. The reason why I haven't got there yet is because per ISO, until we get the paperwork done that says we are one, then they will come in and evaluate, which Todd is very helpful, and he will help us do everything we can to make sure it's done. This is one reason why this map got made, is because our mutual aid companies also count for that and can help lower our ISO rating.
Yeah,
Which is one reason I have everything set up the way I do with having so many tankers, everything else, because that adds to it. Because per ISO, we have to be able to maintain 250 gallons a minute for 2 hours upon our initial fire attack.
So these dots that you have here.
Yes.
You just don't have them in these other areas because these aren't your
This-
areas. These
correct.
are mutual aid areas.
And now there
So
is-
they have their own, but
Yes.
this is the ones that are in.
These, the ones that are on the edge here, all the way down Harlan, are the ones we can get to. And those are basically catty corner between us and Honey Creek or Prairton, but
Yeah.
those are the closest of any hydrants that we have. So that's our biggest battle, guys. It isn't just people. It's a matter of we want to lower the insurance rating because that also affects everybody. That's what we're here to do. But we also have to work with other agencies and we have to get everything done to have the agreements in place.
And I understand that that affects business too, because it makes
Absolutely.
it very hard for businesses to get insurance if we have the
Well,
Right.
lowest
If you
rate.
figure we're a 10 and an industrial park went to a 5 or a 4, just by signing a piece of paper, why wouldn't they? I don't blame them.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's one of those things where,
Well, I'm sure that there were some funds that were involved with that too, because that's an expensive little
which,
area and an
I mean,
expensive amount of.
and
like,
honestly,
expensive,
for the most part, they ain't seen any of that money either. It's still on tax bills. So nobody's seen the money. They ain't seen it
Yeah,
either.
they baked it all.
So that's where it's at, guys, is that's the big ballpark of what I've done over the last few years and what we're trying to do. But this doesn't happen overnight.
No.
But if we have plans in place to build a new firehouse, to get more people, to work on getting funds, and so on, like I said, I want paid staff here badly. Because if I get them here, I can get it done. But the issue is I gotta be able to have a dry place to work, which now that I do, we can start tearing into the rest of it. But guess what? That's what the paid staff can be doing. I got 2 guys that are construction workers that come in here and work. Why pay somebody?
I'm curious if we reduce that, how much that would affect insurance. I'm curious how much that would offset the taxes if we did increase taxes. You know, it'd be
Well,
nice.
it will. I mean, so what you do, just looking at this.
Yeah.
The way this takes place is that, Pearson Township Board and the Linton Township Board would have to pass unanimous, or identical resolutions, but there would be an identical tax rate
Yes.
for both
Amount.
townships. You have to have 2 public hearings, and you gotta explain what you're gonna do, and so, so that really is the
Tracy.
tricky bag,
yeah.
is.
I have one.
That's, you're gonna increase if it's 19.5 cents per hundred.
And that's just a ball. I mean, that's
I
just.
mean, that's, or whatever that ends up at, but it's gonna be closer to 19.5 than it is to 6 cents.
Yeah.
It's gotta be.
Yeah.
It's gotta be anything else.
So that's always the rub in establishing a fire territory.
It's gonna be more
Do you have any
taxes.
questions, Chris?
But
No, I mean,
more taxes, less insurance possibly,
That's
probably.
right, that's right.
So it's probably
well,
like,
it's,
one way or another.
well,
Yeah.
one thing it is going to do is give you better fire protection.
Yeah.
well,
Now,
that's pretty
whether that
important.
equates to
I'd like to
how
have my
much
house
in
stay alive.
reduced homeowners insurance, but the reality is you're going to have a better service available. But you're gonna have to pay for it.
And you did say that 19.5 was a starting point.
19.5 is where we're at.
Where they are, Pearson.
So that's just an example. I can
In-
give you ballpark numbers on
Yeah, in
that.
theory, if we were part of the fire territory, that might reduce the tax rate in Pearson, but raise, so it might be 16 cents per thousand on each side.
Obviously, with more people, you get
Yes.
more of a pot to pull from.
So I have a question from a public standpoint.
Yes, sir.
Talk about the trucks needing new tires, adding repair parts, consumables to the truck and that kind of thing. I assume that's already built into your budget, because that's gonna happen every few years, that kind of thing.
To a certain extent, yes. we
Right,
have folks.
so the construction in this building and things like that haven't been in the budget.
Right.
And extra runs aren't in the budget if you have some massive problems, like the school burn down, those type of things. If you go over what Lincoln Township pays you for their contract and what Pearson Township's budget is, where's the overage come from? Where's the money come
We
from?
don't go over. If we've got a truck that's broken, we don't have money, it's broke.
So,
We don't have credit.
So-
We don't
so
have-
say-
say you're,
Oh, go ahead.
say you're 11 months out of the year, and you're out of money, what happens?
We're out of money. I mean, John, there's really no other, it goes back to the people that are handling the money. A fire department can run themselves in the ground in 3 months and blow all their money and do whatever and be very irresponsible with it. we usually try to have some sort of a fudge fund, if you will, of at least, we try to keep at least $20,000 back to sit on in case something happens.
Okay.
The other thing that we lean on especially for, and one thing I want to bring up tonight as well, was the CUME fund, is we can use the CUME fund for fire truck repairs, building repairs. We don't have to sit on that until we're ready to buy a truck or buy a building. The way it is operated out of Pearson Township and even out of Riley Fire Department, which I'm very familiar with, is we usually use that as part of our budget, but it's a fudge fund. I got $35,000 in CUME fund that I can use over at Pearson Township. What do I use that for? I'll use it for air pack testing every year, fire pump testing every year, fire hose testing every year. All that goes into maintenance because they can spend that. Let's say I've got to tear half the building off over there because it's falling in, because the foundation's gone bad. I can pull that out of that fund because that's building improvements, capital improvement projects.
Okay, so your budget's what, 200 grand for Pearson?
It is now. It's right around, the last couple of years, it's been floating between 160 and 170.
And we pay 50.
Yes.
So, I mean, that gives you an idea.
What it's gonna take.
Exactly.
So whenever it comes to that, John, to finish your question, if we have to sit here and budget what's out, I've got a fire truck over there down because I basically put all new valves in the truck because every valve seized because of the design of the truck. The truck's 20 years old. Well, until I get my shop done, to be able to get it in there, I'm not gonna pay somebody else another $20,000 to do the work, whenever we can do it ourselves.
Yeah.
We still can make the runs, we still got another truck, but that's why we've got extra equipment. So that's where it goes back to, is we have to have a dance. Is it common for us to have a truck down? No. But it's the same way it is. We basically, the things we make sure of is this. We make sure we pay the insurance, we pay the insurance on the trucks, we pay the building payment over there, and we pay our light bill and gas bill. So the place is open and running.
So that's what I was getting at. I'm trying to figure out, when you had $40,000,
Figure that
right?
one.
For the response to the school, right? Around $40,000 is what the.
Something came up through that. It was a cost, I think, to tear the school down was $40,000. It wasn't on us.
So that wasn't on the fire department?
No.
That was on the county?
Correct.
Okay.
Correct. That was not on us, no.
The rub historically has been in Linton Township. I mean, you can see us, we're being surrounded by fire territories. And that's what's Thunderbird down at Farmersburg. The rub here has been, is this has been a highly agricultural township. And Bianca can tell you how many times she's heard, well, land don't burn. So they're paying more taxes for their agricultural land, and they're not feeling that they're getting any additional benefit. Obviously, they are for their homes and their barns and so forth. But
I got some nice barns too.
But that is where the rubber hits the road on this issue historically in this township.
They have not wanted to.
So it would be interesting, because obviously the township, compared to 1990 or 2000, has a lot more residential development in it, and it's going to have more residential development in it.
And
Finally, we're
it's good
growing.
you bring that up, Chris. We actually did a study, or we went back through the last census, because there was a population increase thing we could do through the township. And we actually lost residents, either because they didn't do the census, or because their stuff was bought out. We've actually lost residents than gained in this
Ooh,
township.
in Linton or in Linton, here's, in Linton?
We had growth of 12% in Pearson, so that's why we got a bump in our budget.
No draw, there's nothing here for it.
Well, the
Farmers
thing
don't wanna
that's
sell.
gonna happen though is with the industrial park and the battery plant. I mean, I already know about some agricultural lands in Prairie Township that we purchased, that's gonna be subdivisions.
I mean, this is a great spot, we're in a great spot here.
So, at some point,
It's gonna
it's
happen.
either gonna, I mean, and, I didn't say this advocate, but you're either gonna have to become part of Prairie, or you're gonna have to become part of Pearson. I mean, I think that's the logical thing that's gotta take place, because either that or you gotta create your own volunteer fire department, and I think that's gonna be temporary, because you're going to see at some point, and I think it's certainly possible at some point that there'll be some Indian statute passed that's going to cause the combination of fire territories and
Push it forward for a while.
so, yeah, so they're either be county-wide fire territory or they're gonna be in sections of with townships, so, I mean, as I say, I mean, I just think, you know, you all may, you know, the whole thing is you have to have public hearings, you have to advertise it, and it's, at what point do people recognize that this is in their best interest to pay more, to have better fire protection?
And EMS, I mean, fire and EMS, so.
So, I mean, that's just kind of my
No, you're right, you're exactly
observation
right.
from,
So the thing here is, folks, is, and this is me speaking as a fire chief, but also as a person, because I put a lot of time into this place and the other place, and making sure that we can bring this together. The whole purpose of why we did this was to give you guys that live in this township better fire protection. That's the way it was, that's the way it was when I first came in the door and talked to you folks when Lori was still alive. That's when I came in the door, it wasn't as a sales pitch, if anything else. At $50,000, guys, I can take it or leave it. It's because I want to make sure I give you guys good fire protection, because I've been doing this in this township for 25 years,
If we become a territory,
which is a possibility, but that's still a couple years off by the time
That's-
dance.
let's say we become a territory, what is fire chief in the territory? What are your roles as boss?
What is
So
what?
do
being
you-
different.
So you don't like determine, does he recommend to the board like tax rate increase thing, or what is the?
Well, they
power
have
of
to
the-
create a budget, and then you have to have a, you know, what your proposed tax rate, property tax rate. So, I mean, that's part of the deal.
Okay, board, let's talk then, where are we?
I think we'd be a fool to go with anybody else and try to start our own thing. We ain't got a leg to stand on. We're gonna be $250,000 in the hole just to get the equipment.
You better keep going.
I mean, that's just walking through the door. I mean,
I agree, I don't see any way that it can be immediate.
I mean, sure you can do it, but it's gonna take so much, it's gonna take time, it's gonna take a lot more than
Money.
just the 4 or 5 of us.
More people.
People. I mean, you can't get people come down here and help.
The unfortunate things, I think a lot of us have got off on the wrong foot about this whole thing. So I think the unfortunate thing is a lot of us have gone off with the wrong foot on this whole thing, but the bottom line is this: we're all here for one reason, and that is to make sure we get the best service we can for the money that's there.
I think that it has been previously voiced that it didn't seem like there was a choice. And I think that, again, like, from our communications on trying to set this up, the conversation was, we have choices, and that we were going to consider all those choices.
And that's fair, but one thing, Tracy, and with all due respect is whenever you told me that over the phone, basically was kicking me right square between the thighs. Because
Wait a minute, when I told you what on the phone?
that we were gonna look at other places and do other things after we had already done all this work to basically prepare to give this our best effort. So that's why I think you and I got off on the wrong foot, because I think you thought I was telling you, no, you don't have a choice. It wasn't that at all. What I was doing was I was giving you the facts as far as what is in front of you. I
And
think
I
it may
believe
came off
that
wrong.
when I presented this to you, I said, there is more than one choice.
Absolutely.
And that you were telling me what was going to happen, and that things were already set and done, and they were under the impression that things were set and done, and there wasn't any documentation, and I'm looking for documentation, and it has been voiced by members of the board that they didn't feel like they were given the choices. So the choices right now are not just go with Pearson or volunteer, but it is combine with Pearson or combine with Prairie Creek or go volunteer or try to hang on with contracts until we're forced legally to do something different, whether it's countywide or whatever. Like, there
But in all
are
fairness-
choices.
In all fairness here is, if you bounce back and forth all the time, nobody's gonna be able to give a 5 or 10 year plan on getting something done.
Business.
I've already given you my 5-year plan of what I've already got going.
Okay, but you're
So-
also saying that your missed call rate is 3%, and that you found that to be pretty comparable to other areas.
I believe
And well, believing it in numbers are another thing, and I don't have everybody's numbers in order to compare that with, but I would think that that would be valid information that the board would want to take into consideration, because once they make a decision of which direction they want to go with, whether they merge here, merge there, whether they want to do the volunteer fire department and try to go that way, once they make that decision, it's very hard to undo.
No, actually, it's not.
It is very hard to undo.
Because
They
you
have to
can
get
vote
so
next
many
time and
signatures
yeah,
in
only
order to
gonna get
undo it.
Next year. we
Oh,
do
if you
this
go
again.
over there, yeah, you're not gonna.
Or over here. Like,
That's
once,
nothing to
once
do
it
with
is combined, then it's very hard to dissolve. Like,
Well,
once
but
it's
if you
here-
become a
It's a
fire,
territory.
if you
Yeah,
become a fire.
that's what I'm saying.
It's a
If
territory.
that's on the territory. Like, if they're talking, well, boy, we'd be a fool to go somewhere. Well, I think, just like I thought a year ago, that it is worth looking at all the options before you make a decision. Like, it's okay to have some initial discussion, but I really think that consideration needs to be happening as far as all the options. I don't find 3% to be what I am hearing from other trustees that have fire departments, and like, when there are missed calls, or when TransCare is the first one that arrives on the scene, when they've come from Terre Haute, not when they've come from the highway, but when they've come from Terre Haute to arrive there, that when I'm talking to other trustees, and I do often because I know to learn my job here,
And how did they have that information?
I don't think you need to have that information. It's just conversations that I've had. If I say, hey, if there's a missed call, like, how often are you having missed calls? And they say, oh, well, we haven't had any this year.
How
Like,
many?
that's not 3%,
Yeah,
and it's
but
not proof
that's all
positive
Aaron
either.
said. I'm
I'll
gonna
be
do the
honest.
paperwork right here.
What's
If
that?
anybody can sit there and tell you that
He's
they'll miss a
showing
run, I
me
guarantee you Prairie Creek's missed runs. I've heard them do it.
And there are a lot of things that people can put on
So-
paper and not do. Like, there's a lot of
Absolutely.
just telling people things,
At least
and
they can
then,
look at it and see
I'm
it.
giving you honest knowledge right here, and that's for the
Okay.
runs that we have reported. I can tell you, there's probably some runs that did not get written down. But that is the runs of our knowledge, that is honest information in front of you.
okay.
I have no reason to sit here and try to give you a sales pitch. I've been covering your area for the last 2.5 years. Half of that was for free. And I don't think we've done a bad job compared to where we were at 3 years
And I
ago.
wasn't
It's
here
costing
then,
him
I'm just
You were
trying to
here,
do
though.
my,
It's
I'm
not
trying,
paid-
3 years
you
ago,
were a taxpayer.
I was a taxpayer.
You're still
Okay.
here. You have just as much of a voice in this meeting as anybody else in this room.
I 100%
Yeah,
understand.
Yeah, but people,
This is not, like,
most
you can see
folks
how well
don't have any
attended it is.
understanding.
That's the heart of the problem.
Yeah, I agree.
You know what I mean? That's part of the problem.
But it-
That's why I bring all this, because you guys are the representatives to educate you on what's going on. It has nothing to do with me telling you you don't have a choice. Sure, you do whatever you want, but I'm telling you, this is what we've done. This is our foundation. We're here. This is what we're doing for
I
you
appreciate
right
the documentation
now.
that you brought, I appreciate the map and the explanation of the map, I appreciate that you have your CAD list here, that you can explain these to me. I feel like when I've taken on the position of filling Gloria's shoes for the trustee position, that I want to know everything that I possibly can and do the best that I can. And every board that I have ever been on, I have been challenged and challenged others, like, what options do we have? How many quotes do you have? What is the cost? What is the long term on this? You know, what is the benefits of going with this company rather than that company? Like, I'm working with other entities, nonprofits, and as a board member, where I'm expected to challenge and challenge and challenge so that we can make the best possible decision.
And I respect
And-
that, but that's different than the fire service.
Yeah.
Is it?
You
It
don't,
is.
you
So
don't
we
have
don't, we
an
don't
option.
need to go and check out, compare, like,
Well, I would, yeah. I
one
would-
fire company to
Absolutely. I
another.
think that's their responsibility to see what.
Oh, I guarantee that part of it is, but my thing is if you've already got somebody doing the job that was already improving upon what was there 3 years ago, and they're sitting here trying to give you a 5 and 10 year plan that's inside their township that they're gonna spend township money on.
A year ago, when we had this discussion, you were talking about building at the old Pimento Schoolhouse on land that was rented. Like, they were gonna rent it to you for $1.
Yes, Dean Lou.
And we're talking about putting, you know, several $100,000, $500,000, you know, more of building
Right.
onto a property that is not owned, but is rented for, even if it's
It
for
is-
$1.
It is a deed in lieu. And Chris, and I believe that's what it's called, is basically it's deeded to the fire department till it is done something different with. As long as there is a fire department running off that property, it's fire department property.
Okay.
If for some reason that fire department closes up or goes down, then it goes back to the school property.
And you've had these, you know,
We'll
these
have all
plans,
that
and you
paperwork
presented
too.
these plans to me, and I asked you, you know, have you worked with an architect? Do you have an estimate of how much
I
the building?
don't have any of that because
None of
I
that.
have to get the land to be able to get the grant money going. I do have an architect, I do have a drawing I can show you, but it's probably going to change. Because depending on what we can get for a grant is gonna be what we're gonna be able to build if we go that route.
Okay, so
But
I'm
I
just,
can't
I'm just
do-
gonna say that from my perspective, I've tried to do the best that I can as a trustee. Maybe I didn't do as good as what I should have as a community member and trying to figure out what's going on down the road and what decisions are being made. Okay, maybe I failed in that way, but as a trustee, I have tried to do my best, do my due diligence, just like when I
I
said,
respect what you're
I'm
saying.
very sorry that I do not have the remainder of that check, because that is
It's fine.
that is a problem, like, it
It's
is a
fine.
problem, because we
Mine-
owe you that money,
And it's
and I wish I
fine,
had a check to
Tracy.
hand to you right now.
It's fine.
I
But my
understand.
thing is you're doing your job, you're trying to do the best you can, I understand the due diligence. But on the other hand, you also have to make sure to respect the people that are sitting here that have volunteered to work their asses off to make it as good as what it is right now, not just pull it out from underneath of us and give it to somebody else. That's where we get upset.
But it's not pulled out from underneath you because you don't own us, right, like, you don't own us, they're still an entity that needs to
We
make a
put
decision.
our time into this community. We put our time.
Which you were
into
contractually obligated to do under the terms of the agreement. This wasn't
It's
gratuitous.
not shared.
This was paid you a $50,000.
Chris.
That's correct. For
Not
this
the
year.
last 2 years.
That's not, who's that on?
I don't know who that's on, Chris. Do you not want me to come because I don't have a contract?
I'm just asking,
But
is
it
there
is,
some?
I'm not even going legally here, Chris, and I don't want to get into it in a mad way, but what I'm saying is, you want people to come. You want people to volunteer. That money ain't going in my pocket. That money's going to operate the funds for people to go on the trucks to make sure they're safe to get out to this area.
Right,
I'm not getting paid that money.
no?
That money's going to a fire department in order to supply those funds. Would you agree? So
Yes.
people that are getting on those trucks, unless it's that 8 hours a day that's paid, are doing it for not a daggone dime. And they're coming into this township that isn't theirs and doing it. Just like that's what they're gonna do.
Right.
It makes no difference. But what I'm saying is why shoot the horse whenever we've already done the work? We've
I'm
already
not
done the
getting,
work.
I am not getting that.
What I'm saying is why sit there if the horse has already pulled the plow? Why are we gonna pull a different horse?
Well, because we paid you for that work, we've contracted for that work.
Absolutely.
And.
I'm
and-
not disagreeing with that.
And the board is now in a position to assess, do we want to continue that relationship? Or is there a better option available for the township? And I think that's what all this
Well, my-
process is, and I think this
Yeah.
information's been very helpful.
And I completely agree on that, Chris. I'm not disagreeing with you, but you can't sit there. If you want something to be done quicker, sooner than later, I would give it, no matter if it's me or not, I would give it to the department that's already got the damn foundation. Why make somebody start over?
But your foundation includes this building and the equipment that's here and.
Absolutely.
It doesn't sound like we've had people in this space from here. Like if you were responding, you might come by and pick up the truck and go,
Correct.
which is a delay, but you don't have somebody who is here.
How
And
is
you had
anybody
some
else?
discussions, you had some discussions and intention, which is the same thing that you've got, the same discussions and intention right now of remodeling and building and making this a habitable space for the people that are.
But if you don't
giving their
guarantee me that
time
I
away.
have anything in the future, why should I invest in this building?
I agree.
I think
I
that's correct.
absolutely 100% agree.
That's my argument. I think maybe that's what I'm trying to get at here.
I 100% agree, but
He's only got
for the people
$50,000
of this community, they see this as theirs. I don't see this as theirs. I recognize that this is not owned by Linton Township, and that is not owned by Linton Township.
Right.
I get it. Okay, so when our community says our, and when they're calling me up to try to get me out of a meeting when I'm at work so that I can hand somebody that I don't know a key to get into the building, my answer is no. And this is not my building to give a key out for.
Right.
Okay, that should not have happened. Regardless, whatever, it
Exactly.
wasn't something that you guys set up, it was somebody who just happened to like be able to get my number and call me and say, hey, I've got a problem, can you help me out? And I'm like, I'm sorry, I cannot help you out because I am in a meeting and I am stuck here, and they want to come get the, no. This is not my space, this was not our rental, this was not money that was coming to our township, this was not my baby. I had no
Right.
authority to give that key out,
Right.
and I did not have the ability to leave and do it right then on the schedule that they needed. Like, I recognize this is not ours. It's not, but it has felt very much a part of the community. This has been the community's center. They
Yes, I
feel
agree.
like part of their history is here. And I think
I
that
agree.
digging their heels in even more because now that the school building's gone, like that had so much history and so many memories and so much emotional attachment to it, that with that being gone, this is what they see as being their community.
I wholeheartedly agree.
I will say, it seems like a lot of stuff, I'm not sure when the roof was repaired. Do you know ballpark when the roof
We
was repaired?
just put a new roof on it within a month.
It seems like when we started having concerns, all this stuff started getting fixed. There were toilets standing in the hallway for months and months and months
And
and
there's still
months.
on the other side.
And it seemed like not a lot was being done. If there's gonna be a volunteer fire department established here, none of that has been communicated to us, that we're working on such and such. Nothing has been laid out. So we kind of felt like the redheaded stepchild here.
Okay,
It
now-
doesn't seem
now-
like,
now
just a second,
with-
just a second.
Okay.
It doesn't seem like folks, we haven't seen many folks when you've been here doing the daily checks you're referring to. Would you say that you haven't seen many folks or any folks?
I have, now, in the summertime, it's a little bit, I was down here a little bit more. Once it got sweltering hot in here and freezing cold in here, it was not reasonable for me to continue working from this space, and I started working from home. Just being in the neighborhood and going to the mailbox, like, and running up here to grab papers to take care of something or check on something, like,
And it was like almost, it seemed rather vacant,
I
yes?
have not run into anybody
Okay.
in
So that-
months and
So
months.
that's kind of made us feel again, like a little bit neglected on that. So, on that front, I'm gonna say it hasn't felt like a whole lot of love.
First of all, the roof got started with a person who actually had to go through the insurance. They had to wait for the roofing to be done. I started this process back in April. The roof got put on right when it got put on because they finally got to it on their schedule, not on mine. I wanted this done and over with before winter even happened. That's not on me, but you can call Papa Roofing and I can show you the paperwork. This wasn't just miraculously out of the air. Same thing with the toilets. Debbie brought up the biggest thing about the toilets. I said, okay, I know, but my biggest upset was I know the junk. We gotta get it done, but I'm not gonna sit there and throw half the money into it whenever we need to tear everything out and start over again. The place needs renovated, and I know it does.
Well, part of the reason why Debbie had brought that up was because I had concerns that we had elderly people that were frail
Well,
coming into this
here's-
space. They
Yes.
were it's not my liability. It's not my liability. It's only out of the concern for the elderly people that were here. That you have 2 broken toilets and one of those is shaken, and
And we also
and
don't
it's
have
not-
a handicap accessible bathroom,
well,
which we know.
even if you're not handicapped, they weren't safe.
Right.
And that was a concern that I had brought up, that she said that she was gonna
But
contact
again,
you.
in all
and that
fairness,
you were-
in all fairness,
It's-
this is stuff that's been inherited, but also technically on the, whatever you wanna do, go back to the guidelines, those toilets are for the daggone fire department, not for the community center.
Right.
Does that make sense? No, it does not. But it's also things that we have to get done.
And
I want to
I-
get a roof on the place and get that done. I don't have control over the contractors when they get to it. I went through the insurance, so it actually saved us some money. It was $38,000 for all the repairs they've done to this building. 3/4 of that's been paid for through our insurance company.
Do you
We
see why
have-
I wrote that lack of communication? Do you see why I kind of felt like?
But here's the thing, this is the first meeting I've been to since when?
Right,
When was the last time somebody told me it was
A
board
year
meeting?
ago, yeah.
right.
But you
Okay, but you just said that I needed to be here 3 years ago as a community member.
No, I didn't
Like,
mean
I-
it like that, Tracy.
Well,
What
I
I'm
mean,
saying
like,
is
if you
you've
have
been
an
in the
interest in
community.
coming to talk to us, then you have our numbers too. I mean, like, if you can call Debbie, you can call me, and you can call any of us here.
My point to that, Tracy, is that you have been served through the fire department in this community, not because you weren't in here. You were being
But
served
you
by
were
the
saying that I
department
should
of
know things that were going on down
No,
there.
I did not say that.
Well,
What I
that
said
was what my assumption was of what I was hearing.
I understand, I'm glad you're telling me that so we can get it worked out. That is not what I'm trying to say. What I'm trying to say is you were a member of this community whenever we were serving this community, even though you may not have known it. When the house burned across the street, when the school burned, everything else, we were there. Is what my point is to that. You may not have needed this, which I'm glad you haven't. But you're still being served by the community. It's still your tax dollars that are being paid.
Yeah,
to go
regardless of whether it's me or if it's my neighbor or somebody else or my great friends across the highway, regardless of who it is,
Right.
I want my people cared for, not just me.
Absolutely.
I'm not saying that you're not doing that, but when I'm looking at this, I want the best, I want the best. I want the best for my family, I want my best for my friends, I want the best for my board members, I want the best for my community. I want my board to have the information that they need in order to make a decision.
And that's what I'm.
And I don't think that.
And
we
I
need
think
to
this
push the
information,
decision.
and I think this information
Very-
that you brought this
very
evening
helpful.
was very
Now,
helpful.
to go back to the other side of this is if you guys are having meetings, it's not my job, I don't have to be here. But
Right.
if you guys got concerns or questions, you also got my number.
Yeah.
Tracy, if you got a concern or if we've got a misunderstanding, you need to pick up the phone. We may not see eye to eye or communicate very well, but we're both trying to do
You're
the same
talking,
job.
You're
And you
discussing.
certainly can make, reach out and say, hey, by the way, I reached out in April to get this started, and this is the one round I'm
Absolutely.
getting, I'd be willing to
And
show
if you
that.
guys
So
sit
that
there and
can
ask
be-
all
me,
been
sure.
lacking in
But, and that's something I can show up to
communication.
meeting for. At Pearson Township, I go to every meeting. I know it's the same Tuesday every month. Or they specially say, hey, we're gonna be here, and you wanna know something? Now that my schedule is halfway normal, I can be here in a short period of time, to be here on a short plan. You guys need to call a meeting to order, you guys got a question? I'm more than happy to sit here and say, hey, we've had 28 runs this month. Here's what we're doing, here's the runs we had in Clinton, here's the runs that we didn't, and what's going on in our process. I am more than happy to give everybody that information. There is no smoke and mirrors here. But I know you guys are also sporadic with your board meetings, so if somebody says, hey, I mean, and
This
it's
was
nothing
decided 2
bad.
days ago, and I'm
Right, but
surprised
it's
that
nothing
everybody
bad, but
didn't
it's
pull
just a matter,
together.
just like you did yesterday. Hey, can you be here tomorrow night, 6:30? Yeah, I'll be there.
Yep.
That's all I need. But I'm also not gonna sit here, if you guys got a question, I can't read your minds.
Right.
You
I
guys
think we
gotta
should have
come in.
reached out when these questions came up personally.
My
I wasn't
biggest thing is,
comfortable with,
yeah,
I
this
feel like
place
we
needs a
should have
lot of
asked
work.
him
I
sooner.
get it.
Well, we've
Rather
had
than
board
waiting
meetings
so
where
long.
you can contribute this
I
also.
agree. And I
Yeah.
finally did say, okay, listen, guys, I really feel like JC has the right to tell us his vision. We have the right to listen to the other option. I did say that in
And yes,
my,
and in the text message that you made yesterday, you said, let's talk to JC today.
yes.
And then
I didn't,
consider
yeah.
our other options
I
later
did,
on,
yeah.
so.
My thing, guys, is this, is I think we're all in the same ballpark. I think maybe we've all gotten a little angry, we haven't had communications, and just like in marriage, if you ain't communicating, you're fighting.
Yeah.
And I think that's where we're at right now. And we've gotten things misconstrued. I never, and Tracy, I will personally apologize to you right now. I never wanted to give you that impression whenever I talked to you the first time, as far as not having another choice, or not.
It
having-
was,
It may have been
pretty
Mike
much
coming
given to me
across.
that way, but also with Mike. You and Mike were on the same page, and you were
Yes.
telling me the same things, that this is the direction that we are going
But it's
in.
also something that we had already worked through. We had
Yeah.
already talked with the board
And
about. We
Gloria
already
had
knew
been
all
here
that.
through that
So-
whole process, and I told you at that time, you gotta catch me up on where you're at and what you're
Yeah.
doing, and do
There-
you have this, and do you have this, and
Yes.
what is your, but if I'm also hearing that there are concerns about, whether or not we're having adequate response times, or if we are providing mutual aid to others to the extent that we are receiving mutual aid, or if,
But here's the thing is it's like everything else. It's a roulette wheel. You don't know when a run's gonna come out.
but we're talking over the course of a year. I mean, it's not, with roulette, there's still statistics,
There is, but just like I've got 8 hours of the day covered, how many runs do these folks actually make? I got lucky, they made almost half.
of the ones that were documented.
At 251
Of
runs.
the 251 that were documented, that you've done your best to document on it, but you
Well,
also
every
said that
run
there are
that we
some
go
others
on, we
that might
put-
not be accounted for.
But again, I don't know, nobody is gonna do any better unless you got a big paid burn.
that is a bold statement. Like, for me, in my profession, if I were to come through and say, well, nobody could do it better,
97%?
you know,
I'd say it's
maybe,
close.
like if you're
It's
maybe just
comparable.
looking right here, but I would never say, like, boy, nobody could do this better
I
than
didn't
me.
say that. What I said was 97% is not a bad number for a mostly volunteer fire department.
It does, well,
Do we know what Prairie
Okay.
Creek is or Prairie Town?
We're in fire territory.
I do not know what Prairieton is, but they do have a larger department, and they do have paid staff, and they do have the two, you know, Prairieton and Prairie Creek that are working together in a combined unit, whereas we're doing contract here. Like, this is, you know, they already have their tax base and
They have a fire.
they have, nice finances over there. They have a new building, they have new equipment, they have.
Looked at their tax rate?
And they've got a tax rate.
They got a tax
They
rate.
got tax rates, but no,
I don't know,
yes.
do you know what it is?
It's high. It's like 30 cents on the 100, I believe, or 28. It's very high.
Is there anything else we need to know legally, Chris? Or
What's that?
Any other legal stuff to input here or to say?
I mean, as I say, I mean, I think ultimately what the board ought to give some consideration to is long-term. And I think long-term, we're either gonna be part of a fire territory with Pearson or with the Prairie Creek one, or ultimately it may be they're all combined together by action
State will choose it.
of either the county commissioners or by the Indiana legislature.
Yeah.
And so, I mean, I just think those are and I've prepared contracts for everybody that you asked me to do,
I
so.
appreciate that. I was trying to like kind of get a feel for things ahead of time. So
And ultimately the board will do, but the short term is what you wanna do for this year. And so, where you are is you're either, I think as a practical matter, where you are this year is contracting again with Pearson to do what they've done this past year, or contracting with Prairieton for them basically to provide the same service. And again, that's not gonna move you toward a fire territory necessarily, but the bottom line is you need to ask Pearson to continue in their relationship for a year, or change horses and ask Prairieton to do it next year under the terms that they propose.
And if you're looking at a contract for just this year, this is not a commitment that you're definitely going to become a territory,
No.
or definitely going to be a district. Like,
The decision this year does not say what's gonna happen.
right,
We
but it may
I
give you some
understand that.
perspective on what you would want for the following year.
I
if that's
just-
something you
Well,
want.
there's two ways you can do the territory.
This is what you were concerned about, us losing our township government.
Right, there's two ways you can do it. The township governments can come together and do it, or else the territory can form its own board.
I'd like to clarify what you're saying there, because that was not my concern.
Yeah, it was.
No,
Last
this
week.
was,
That's
this
last
was
time
the
we met,
board's
that's all we
concern.
talked about.
You guys brought this up. You said, we don't wanna give up our
And we talked
authority
about that
here.
whenever
So
we
that
met
became my
in the first
priority.
time.
When you have said
And you
that
were
that
worried
was,
about it, and I addressed it.
I
Go ahead.
don't
Tell her
have a
what she
strong,
knows, cause I don't think she heard you.
I don't have a strong opinion on whether, like, if we're doing a great job, then yes, we definitely need to
But you
continue.
just said in the
But-
last meeting that you didn't want our township government to dissolve, right?
No, I said if you, because you guys stated this before, well, I don't wanna give this up, I
Yeah, I
don't
thought we
wanna.
kinda said we didn't wanna lose.
Everybody said that.
Yeah.
But that was not me.
No, it was not just her, it was all of us.
I'm sorry, I was kind of,
Okay, I was just like,
because
Guys,
I'm taking your priority.
The township government wouldn't dissolve because of that. The only thing that would be a territory at that point would be your fire service. You guys would still have a worry with everything else. The township board would still be here, Tracy would still be
She's
here.
worried about the
to
state.
Well,
service-
okay, now
No,
I
that's
am
different.
telling you guys that what the decisions that we make right now may have broader effects, because the likelihood of the trustees, and the townships being combined and merged
Yeah.
is very high. I'm letting you guys know this because the decisions that you make right now are not just for right now.
I know
Like,
that.
if something happens and they get dissolved in the meantime, which I don't think they can do that in an election year, I don't know, you may know that better than me, but,
It comes
I
up
don't,
through legislation every year, they
the-
may turn it down.
my understanding is they probably would not push it through in 26, but if you guys decide that you wanna have a volunteer fire department, that we'd have to do it now, not 5 years from now, like what you guys were talking about. Because if you want to get it started, then you've gotta get it started, and then from what I understand from the the ITA meeting that I went to, the fire departments that have merged, or the townships that have merged and had fire departments also, that they did not see any changes in their fire protection. Now, that's probably temporary, because I think it is going towards, and I think that there is a push to continue to merge.
Yeah.
But if this becomes an established place, whether it's over here or down there, wherever it happens to be, if you have a volunteer fire department and you get that established, then they would continue to use those locations according to what ITA was able to tell me. I didn't come into this because I had a strong desire to be the township trustee. I did not know what the
I
township
get that,
trustees.
But you were worried
could
about
hold.
that, I wanted him to bring it up so you heard it, and we were all on the same page, and we all understood.
But I'm trying to hear your concerns. When you guys said, well, you know, you were quite disappointed that we didn't have a volunteer fire department, I got that, you know, that possibility out there. You guys said that you were very concerned about, like, losing the township and the trustee and those things. And one of the things that they're gonna look at is whether or not you have your own fire department. You guys can make the decision. You guys make a decision on which way you wanna go. But if I've gone through the work of coming up with multiple things for you to consider, I think it's the right thing to do is to consider.
Absolutely, we want to listen, we will listen to you.
I don't need for
Well,
you to
I
listen to
mean,
me. Like, I need for you
no.
to vote. I just need for you guys to hear, discuss,
But
a thoughtful discussion and vote. I will communicate with Mr. Gamble and we will come up with the contract that you need. We will talk between them. I think Mr. Gamble had to go like back and forth a few times to make sure that we got this taken care of with the legalities of me being in this space and, you know, them not being responsible if I trip on my way in and hurt myself. Like, you know, there are things that are gonna have to be worked out. But you guys have the responsibility of making the decision that may be for a year, or it may have longer standing, repercussions. Yes,
So if the state
consequences. or
decides
benefits.
to poop
Yeah.
finally, and they may just say, you don't have a fire department, you are now part of a territory, that could happen by
Right.
legislation, so
Right.
you run that risk.
Yeah.
So, okay,
But that was what I was telling you, is
Yeah.
that the group that advocates on behalf of the trustees is proposing legislation that's going to cut by 1/3, and
Well, but these are the same people that are cutting benefits to everybody all the time, they're trying to be efficient, they don't want you to have nothing.
I understand that, but that's what I'm saying, like, we are high risk of being shut down, so
Yeah,
the
I know.
decisions you guys make have longer repercussions than just right
so
now.
we run that risk,
Yeah,
so, alright.
we could start the volunteer fire department and not have a
We
trustee.
started our own volunteer fire department, we're back in the same boat, we didn't have no volunteers first time,
Yeah,
you know?
I'm just concerned that we haven't been able to have a fire department, I mean, we haven't been able to get volunteers. I'm just worried, I don't personally, it concerns me to take on all this debt and stuff and try to think of building a fire, you know, I mean, I just think, I wanna hear the other side, absolutely, but I just think we need to listen to them and then make a decision. You know, I
You
just
all
think-
need to make it.
Right,
Yes.
absolutely.
And I think
I
JC
know.
has made a great presentation, given you
Excellent.
information that's been very helpful. It's good to know what your plans are. And, you know, ultimately, you know, you need to decide whether that's the route you want to go, or if there is an option that you prefer, so. I mean,
And there, you know, when you think about the debt, like, there will be an increase in cost. Like, it's coming, like, whether we continue, like, he's telling us he doesn't have as much as what he wants in order to be able to equip the way that he wants to be able to equip and to staff the way he wants to staff. If we go down there, it's going to be a certain level of cost. And all of that includes the debt that both of these places would have to take on. Like, there is going to be debt.
I
It's,
understand
but
that.
it's like,
But we-
you know, whether we have the weight
We
of
can't
managing
expect
that
him to
debt.
spend that money over here, we gotta give him more money to work with, if we want more representation, he's gonna cost more money.
Which is why I
People,
took that into consideration
Which is-
when you said that, you know, this
Which
is
is
not
either way,
enough.
whether we start our
I
own, or we
added to
stay
the
with
budget.
him, or we go somewhere else, it's gonna cost more money.
so for 6 cents, then we not need to go to 19, just to extrapolate, that would give us 150 grand, you know, plus, you know, to do that. You know, you mentioned possibly getting volunteer firefighters, so do you think that, let's just say we had, let's just say we had a living quarters here, we actually had volunteer firefighters, someone sleeping here on a regular basis, do you think that would change? I know it's just guessing what the state's
What do you
gonna
mean?
Oh,
Would
you're
that
talking about
keep the
the-
state from forcing us into a territory?
Well, I think we are but a small, we are one drop.
We're,
in the bucket
we're
of water.
probably one of the
What we're
smallest
gonna
drops
look
in the
at
bucket.
is there's two townships sitting here around fire districts, okay? Fire district, fire district, fire district, fire district, fire district. We're the only ones left. So if the state comes and looks at whether we got a volunteer fire department here or not, they're gonna shove us together.
Yes, and
So
they
we
are
either do
on the
it the way
chopping
they
block
want
as
us to, or
well.
we do it the way you guys want.
And they could shove districts together, let alone. They could say Prairie
They-
Creek and.
They could say
and you're all
outside.
together.
Well,
They
I
can
think
dissolve
as a
every
practical
single
matter,
township
what's
if
going
they
to
want to.
happen is that municipal fire departments are gonna remain the same, and then they'll make county fire department, it'll be countywide fire departments under, as everybody, under a consistent tax code.
Yeah.
For the non-municipal area covered by the
So
territory.
that's where
That's
we're
all.
left at, is
Yes.
the townships. We are the only two, I hate to say it, we're the only two townships left south of, I-70. Every bit of south of I-70 left. So if it happens, regardless of where we're at, it's another reason why we started this back then, is we wanted to do it so that we had control. You know, we had control. It wasn't something where they said, well, tomorrow you guys need to start working together, good luck.
And I've tried, you know, when I'm trying to emphasize the importance of like the decisions that you make might have longer standing effects. The flip side of that is it might not make any difference at all. I mean, it really might. It might not make any difference at all. We may be told
Well,
exactly
and
what to
nothing
do.
says in the next year you need to go with a fire territory.
Right.
Nothing says you have to do that.
Right.
You know, that's the thing, is nothing's on, now, as you guys have already seen, it takes time. Fume funds, going into a fire territory is gonna be at least a 2-year process. So anything that you guys are gonna push into is gonna take time to get done. And again, not selling anything, we've already got a base here of what we're doing. And if you guys wanna look at a fire territory, I have breached that over there with that township board and trustee. They are open to it as well already. Just because I was spitballing it out there of my grand poobah dream before I finally hang my hat up, is to have both these places in great shape before I walk away. 26 years so far, 13 years as a fire chief, 4-year bachelor degree in fire administration. I've done this. I've worked underneath some great fire chiefs in this county, my father being one of them, and I worked under 2 others. This is probably going to be the easiest thing to do if we can, especially with that township board. They are easy to get along with, just like you guys. It wouldn't be hard to bring together. Yes, taxes are gonna go up, insurance is probably gonna go down, in fact, I hope it does. But I've got a lot of legwork I gotta do in my side, that's my job. That I don't get paid for, okay? So that's part of my job is I can sit there and talk on the water board. I can sit here and talk to Chris and Bianca as far as the risk versus benefit of using the hydrants and solid bag of water. I can show what's gonna happen if we do that.
Have you been able to make any progress in that area
I have.
with the water board?
I have, actually. I've talked to Bianca, I talked to Frank Rush and a few of the others. They have not told me no. But then I also switched back to another shift. Bianca's been sick. Obviously, Christmas, everything else, but that was being spoken of last year. So in that
But I'm sure
respect,
that
it's
just
just
your,
gotta be
your
one of the
presence
things.
there and reminding them of what you can do for the community if you're
Yes.
given us.
Yes.
That
It's-
being present for all those
yes.
meetings has been a benefit
Yes,
to.
and that's the thing, guys, is that's all part of what, I hate to say it, what my job is. My job is to sit here and tell you, this is a service I can offer. And what I'm showing you is the work we've done. This is basically 90% of this is all the paid staff. This is what you're getting. They're not sitting in a recliner. They're out there making sure the trucks are clean, the floors, the stations are better. The guys that are capable are doing repairs on the building. I'm not gonna have just anybody come in and wire this building. So the rest of it goes back to is it's gonna take time. It's just time.
It's gonna take time and it's gonna take money and.
And
you
I'm
know,
not
that's
asking for more
regardless.
money at this point as much as I am, just let us keep moving so that we can keep our plans. There's no reason for me to sign a daggone contract or a deed with the school if we're not gonna keep doing this. I don't need a firehouse over there.
Right.
Obviously, it's gonna be, you know what I mean? So they're gonna do that, which has taken 6 months to get that done. So it's hard to find land to put a firehouse on. It's the reason why I brought that up to start with. What are they gonna do with it?
Right.
They got the monument, the deal is if we get the land, we're supposed to take care and insure the monument. Okay?
Okay, Mr. President.
So we've heard, right?
Yeah.
I mean, we've got a lot of information to
I
take
appreciate the
in.
work that you put into
Thank you.
your
Thanks for having
presentation
us.
here.
I appreciate
And
that.
I don't want you to feel like there is,
It's
like
just
it's,
hard.
like it's a disrespect in your direction. I feel like it's my due diligence, and I hope that you see that way.
I respect that from your position, it's just, you also, I just want you to remember that, the folks that are sitting here that've done all this, myself, Mike, and everybody else that's put all the time into this to make this work,
Yeah, it is, is it a way?
you know? It's, that's where I look at it is it's the heart of the fire department. You know, you guys talk about this being part of the community, I'm a part of this community, you guys are part of this community. I'm a heart of this fire department. I grew up when Bill Nicholson was young and could drag me out of the house. He was the fire chief for 1,000 years. He was our guy. You had the Ralph Splady's and the Bill Nicholsons and the Bill Shields and the rest of these guys that were here when I grew up. This was the heart of Clinton Township. Unfortunately, we just couldn't bring other people in. It's like that everywhere.
It's hard. People don't want to volunteer for much of anything.
Well, I
You can
appreciate
say
you
there's
coming,
50
I appreciate you coming down here on
So,
practically zero notice.
Appreciate that.
Yes.
like I said, guys, I am here for you at any time, and whatever has been misconstrued with that, I'm sorry, but I am here. That's my job.
Hey, what, you mind giving out your cell phone number?
Yes, absolutely. It's 812
Do you want that on the
230
recording?
7110.
Two of
Put
them
it out
going.
there because the fire chief, that's who they gotta call if there's a fire, so they gotta call me. It's all right. But just remember the heart and what we have done. We're not doing this for any other reason but besides we want to make the community better.
Motion to adjourn.
I make a motion to adjourn.
Thank you, guys.
All right, I'll second that.
I'm gonna keep this.
Signify by saying
It's kind of
aye.
interesting.
Aye.
Aye. Those opposed? Ayes have it.
You want to use your pen?
Oh, I'm sorry.
So you can have
Yes.
this. No, we are recording double. If this is, yeah, let's,
At least you got my good side.